YouTube, man, what's going on? Welcome back to another banger of a video for you guys as we are taking a look at a Michael Jordan build that also has Anthony Edwards in the shades of as well, which is, kind of coincidental considering that, he was making all those comments about how he's actually he's actually the new MJ and all that stuff. But anyway, so this build I originally got like a template from somebody else, and then I made some tweaks within the build. So I used the template from somebody else. I tweaked it just to make it a little bit better. And I'm going to tell you guys the differences in between the original template and my, my end version that I have right now, because we have some really, really good changes here. So I'm going to tell you guys straight up that practically, I'm going to tell you guys the attributes. I'm going to talk about them like I usually do. And then I'm going to tell you guys if it's the same as the original template or if I made changes. So anyway, we have a 77 close shot, which is pretty good. Also, before I go any further though, now that I think about it, this template is practically made because this is using the old 98 Jordan, okay? The 35-year-old Jordan that's in the game. That's why he's got a lower driving dunk than driving layup, because this uses the older MJ, because the 35-year-old MJ that you see in the 98 Bulls, if you see that particular version of him on the roster, you'll see that he has an 80 driving dunk on that particular version of him. So that's the only reason why we have, the stats like this. And the only reason why this is the only way to get him practically, like to my knowledge anyway, this is the only way to get him is by, having a build similar to this, because with the other versions of him and you trying to get like a super high driving dunk and all that, it's not going to work. Trust me. But anyway, we have the 77 close shot, which is pretty good. That's the threshold to get you silver masher. Pretty solid there. We also get all these other badges as well. It's not like it's going to be super, super important, but we do have some good badges here. And then we also have the 90 driving layup, which is practically really, really good. We get acrobat on Hall of Fame. It's not like we're going to be using, the best, animations of all time for this. I mean, definitely you could upgrade it to like a 91. Like in reality, like if you were thinking about it in a particular way, and if you guys wanted to make this not MJ and you didn't give a shit, obviously I would increase it to like a 91 driving layup just to get another threshold in there for a slithery. But, for the most part, it is pretty good. It is pretty solid. You do get that Hall of Fame acrobat breakpoint at least. So there's that. Also with the 80 driving dunk though, I know a lot of people are going to be like, but it's only an 80 driving dunk. I mean, he wasn't really dunking a lot in this era of him. I know that he was, shooting a lot more because he had like in his build, he has a higher 3-point rating than all of his other versions of him, significantly anyway, because he has like in the 80s. But I think like the highest like before that is like a 76 or something like that. So it's pretty solid. I feel like with the driving dunk being an 80, because at least you can still dunk, but you're not really focusing on that. And it's because, post control, the mid range, you have a driving layup, all that stuff. But I feel like it's pretty solid for what it is. Yeah. Why continue talking about it like that when it's pretty solid? 50 standing dunk. It's just there because you need it. You need the driving dunk increased in order to get the name, or well, not really the name, but the shades of MJ. Because trust me, I've tried it with a lower standing dunk and like a higher offensive rebound and higher this, higher that. And I tried lowering the standing dunk, and it's like, well, guess what? With a lower standing dunk, you have, so and so. And I'm not gonna go through the names or list it off right now, but I will tell you like at the end, pretty much after I've gone through all the stats. But 50 standing dunk, you kind of need it like, higher, like you kind of need offensive rebound to be like around the 38, 39, 40 threshold, like kind of like in that, little area there. And then same thing with like standing dunk being like around like the 48, 49, 50 threshold. So you kind of need those two within those two thresholds. Having standing dunk at least like 10 points higher, at least 10 points higher, is pretty good. I will say. But for the most part, you can have like a 49 standing dunk with like a 40 offensive rebound, and you'll still get it. But obviously having like the 50, rounding it out, just kind of made more sense to me, honestly. But yeah, practically it's only upgraded for the fact of it's needed and required to get MJ as your comparison. And then we have a 90 post control, which is pretty good. Also, the original version called for a 54 standing dunk, not a 50, a 54 on the original version. But the 90 post control, which is pretty good, gives you dream shake and post spin technician on Hall of Fame. Pretty good stuff there. You can be a really, really great back basket guard. Do like a lot of stuff in the mid range with that. Do some post fades. Maybe do some post fakes. All that stuff. You can do some real good work if you're really, really good at utilizing, post control and different kind of post moves and chaining together post moves in order to get like a good open look and get a good shot off. Especially if you are used to playing a big man, you're gonna have a lot of fun on this MJ build for sure. So mid-range being an 86 is a really good threshold. You get that open looks on gold, you get comeback kid on Hall of Fame. It's pretty good stuff there. The original version did call for an 87 though, which made no sense to me because the 86 is better for the thresholds. Now, when it comes to the mid-range badge thresholds, you would need an 88 in order to get Green Machine and Space Creator on gold, an 89 for blinders, and a 90 for Deadeye. So those would be like the upgrades and the thresholds for those specific breakpoints. But you get nothing at an 87, and then you get, obviously, like I mentioned, Comeback Kid, Hall of Fame, and Open Looks on Gold at an 86. So it's really, really good to go 86, because once you go past that 86 mark to an 87, then it's like you just need one more to get, Green Machine, Space Creator. Then you just need one more for blinders, and you just need one more for Deadeye, so on and so forth. So it makes it a little bit harder to just be like, okay, like 87, 88 is like a perfect threshold. It's really not a perfect threshold. It's kind of hard to make a perfect threshold unless you have like a lower rating. But if you have like a higher rating because you are wanting to shoot mid ranges pretty consistently, because you don't have a 3-point rating or whatever the case may be, then at least you can get it to like an 86, and that's considered like one of the better thresholds to me anyway. Then the 3-pointer, also like I mentioned, I don't understand why, but they made it like an 87 mid-range on the template, which is crazy to me. But the 73 3-pointer is also different because the original version did call for a 70. So I was able to get it upgraded to a 73 with this, which is crazy. So it's like, it doesn't really do a whole lot to increase it from a 70 to a 73 when it comes to badges and everything like that. But just in general, just having a higher 3-point rating, you can notice like a little bit of a difference from a 70 to a 73 when it comes to shot percentage, unless you are a fucking goon that just, greens everything anyway. But if you are able to shoot with a 70, fine. But, the 73 just makes it a little bit easier. 81 free throw. Pretty good stuff here. The only reason why it's an 81, not like an 80 or anything lower than that, is because like an 80 was the original threshold that they had on the template, which is pretty solid. You get free points on silver. Pretty good stuff there. The extra 1 point is just there as a leftover, pretty much. As you can see, I bring it down. You can't upgrade anything else, so it's just there. 70 pass accuracy. The original version called for a 70, and we just kept that at 70. Why? Because, made sense to me anyway. I mean, just in general, it's like trying to upgrade it is like kind of like obnoxious at this point, because then you would need to get at least a 74 for like the next upgrade. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well then you need like a 75 in order to get like the next upgrade after that. Then you need a 76. Then you need a 77 for needle threader, which is like kind of like the max threshold that you should reach in the like as like a non playmaker. Because once you get into the realm of like, okay, you want to be a playmaker, then you would go obviously into the 80s, where you have like an 82, 83, 86, 89, stuff like that. Kind of like those thresholds, those breakpoints there. But obviously, if you're not wanting to be like a playmaker, 77 max is what I would go with. But just in general here, I mean, just for the sake of like having the template and trying to follow the template as closely as possible, and then tweaking some of the stuff here, I felt like there's no reason to try and tweak this at all. It's in a spot where it's fine. You can get some badges, so you're not going to be a complete nuisance on, you know, passing the ball around. It's not like you are trying to pass the ball around when you have the ball. Mainly, like, the only time that you are trying to pass the ball is like if you're passing out from being double teamed, or you just have to reset or something like that, because you're not getting a good look from your post moves or anything. Or, you know, you drive in, and then just because you drive in and, you know, they collapse and you just kick out, something like that. That's the only other reason why you would pass. We have a 75 ball handle, which the original build called for a 72. Don't make any sense out of that, but a 75 is pretty good. The only thing is, it's like, it's not the perfect threshold, because you would need a 76 in order to get speed booster. But we had to sacrifice our speed booster and everything here. As you can see, we don't have any of the attributes needed for it anymore. And yeah, I mean, just in general, like, the 75 is required for MJ's dribbles, or at least most of them. The only one that you cannot really get, the only like playmaking animation or dribble style or anything like that that you can't get, is literally the dribble style. That's the only one that you cannot get with this build. But you can get to a 75 ball handle and practically get all the other dribble animations from him. And then also with this, you also get, you know, physical handles being upgraded. I mean, if you have the extra strength too, it's pretty solid. Pretty damn solid. 70 speed up ball. It did call for a 71 speed up ball, which, you know, again, made no sense to me. But we just dropped it down to a 70, because with a 70 speed with ball, at least, you know, you can still get the threshold of reaching the 70, so you can get pro dribble style, which is pretty damn solid. And I feel like this particular version of the build really dominates really well with the 75 ball handle, which is a lower requirement, so you can get like all the lower ball handle requirement animations, which most of them are still pretty damn good. You know, when you have a lower ball handling in general, when you're not like a main ball handler, you can still get some pretty good animations. But then you also, on top of that, get a 70 speed with ball to get pro dribble style, which is pretty damn good as well. If you're not able to get anything better, like Kobe or even Booker you get at like an 80. Anybody else as well, Magic you can't even get. So it's like a lot of the better ones you don't get, but getting to a 70 is pretty solid because you still get pro, and pro is still really good for the low ball handling builds. And then for defense, we have a 70 interior defense. It was calling for a 72, but we lowered it by 2 points just so we can keep a high interior, and also so we can, you know, lower it just a smidge so we can utilize those attribute points elsewhere. And then the perimeter defense, it did originally call for a 95. Why is it a 94? Because the potential from a 94 to a 95 dramatically decreased when it comes to all the other attributes. So you are using up a lot of attribute potential just for going from a 94 to a 95 on perimeter defense, and you're getting fucking nothing out of it. That's the problem with the original version of this build. You get to a 95 perimeter defense just to do absolutely nothing with it. You go down to a 94, you're not sacrificing any badges. As you can see, 97 perimeter defense, a 98 perimeter defense, and a 99 perimeter defense. Everything else is already a Hall of Fame. So it's like all the badges that you do get Hall of Fame, you get Hall of Fame. All the badges that you get on gold, you weren't going to get Hall of Fame anyway. You weren't even going to get them. So what's the point of upgrading it and wasting that potential at a 95 when you could have dropped it to a 94 and still had the same shades of, and also get better attributes elsewhere? So the steal rating is also a 60 when the original version was a 65. And at that point, it's like, okay, just drop it down to a 60 or try and find another way, or try and find something else to sacrifice to increase it to a 72 at least, or even a 70 for that matter. because at 70 you get right stick ripper, and then 72 is glove. So it's like, if you go to a 70, cool, see if you can get it to like a 72. If you can't, oh well, just stick with the 70, get right stick ripper, just so you can get, you know, better intercepts. But yeah, like 65 makes no sense. Just drop it down to a 60. And then the block rating here, it originally called for a 40 block, but instead we have a 68. Imagine being able to go from a 40 to a 68 block and still have the same shades of. Yes, indeed, we still get the MJ shades of. So the MJ shades of, you know, and still being able to increase that to where we can get chase down artists. Pretty damn solid, if I may say. Chase down artists on bronze, at least, pretty damn solid. Offensive rebound, the original build called for a 40. We have a 39. It was just lowered by 1 point because of standing dunk, like I mentioned earlier. Defensive rebound, originally called for a 50. We increased it by 10 whole attributes to get it to a 60 so we can get rebound chaser. I feel like that's pretty solid there, if I may say. Speed. We have the same speed as the original version, and makes no sense why we have like a 72 speed and not like anything higher, but it is pretty solid to have the 72 at least so we can get hyperdrive on bronze. 77 acceleration, the original called for a 75. The 77 though is significantly better because we get fast feet. Why you didn't try to get a higher acceleration for fast feet is beyond me, but fast feet on gold, pretty damn solid. And then also you still get silver spot finder, you still get triple strike on silver, slippery off ball, and you still have blow by on bronze, which is insane to think about. Next, we have a 60 strength, which is practically the default from the original version as well. I feel like this is a pretty good threshold. I mean, you still get the 60, which is what is required for a silver fearless finisher. And not only that, but you get physical handles on at least a bronze. So you're not going to be a total nuisance when it comes to dribbling, in case you have to do a little bit of dribbling, or you have the ball and you're just trying to get into a spot. So you're not just going to be overpowered as easily. And then the vertical. Originally, the vertical was called to be like an 80, which didn't make any sense to me considering that we only have an 80 driving dunk. So I dropped it down to a 75 just so we can utilize all the other attributes. And as you can see in like here from what I'm talking about with all these other attributes in their breakpoints specifically, you can see why I did this, because it was just much better just to reach all those extra breakpoints and utilize the breakpoints to their fullest extent than to, you know, have it be wasted in vertical. That's going to do absolutely nothing besides like maybe help us grab a couple more rebounds. But we can still grab rebounds even with the 75. Doesn't matter. And then we have a 99 stamina, in which the original version called for a 97, which is also another bullshit thing, because like, why would you not max out your stamina to a 99 to get Hall of Fame 94 feet and workhorse? Why would you not try and reach that? That threshold, that breakpoint is significant, getting 94 feet on Hall of Fame and workhorse on Hall of Fame as well. Very significant, because you got the 94 to get workhorse to Hall of Fame status to begin with, and then you don't even get the stamina for it. What was the point? Also, same with 94 feet. It's a 93 plus. What's the point if you're just not going to have the 99 stamina? This way, you get the 99 stamina, you reach a bunch of other thresholds as well and other breakpoints. It's a pretty fucking solid build. I mean, come on. It's pretty damn solid. You have the Bulls MJ, you have Herbert Jones, nice, and then Anthony Edwards. You have Anthony Jordan right here. This is the Anthony Jordan build. If you guys want to use my template, maybe mess around with some of the other attributes a bit as well, because I'm telling you, like, I had a lot of fun with this build. And also, as I mentioned before, you can make tons of players with just this one template. With the original fucking template, you can make so many other fucking players. Just from me cycling through 3-point shot, standing dunk, and offensive rebound, I cycled through Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Brandon Roy, and Sidney Moncrief. all-time Sidney Moncrief, by the way, because it was the Golden Bucks logo, so it's the all-time version. The other ones weren't all-time versions. But if by using this template that originally gives you Michael Jordan, and then you change up like just two of the stats, at least two of the stats, to some degree, and then you get Kobe, makes sense to me though, honestly does make sense to me, because those two have like similar play styles. They're practically just carbon copies of each other. They're both GOATs. And then not only that, but you get Brandon Roy at one point as well, which is fucking crazy to think that you can get Brandon Roy even with a low 3-point rating. And then you get Tracy McGrady, Rockets Tracy McGrady, by the way. But you get Rockets Tracy McGrady. And then on top of that, as I mentioned, you can get Sidney Moncrief, all-time version of Sidney Moncrief. And I usually got Sidney Moncrief when I lowered my standing dunk and had a higher... Like, let's see, if I go to a 50 there, increase that to a 40... Which one am I going to get this time? Okay, this time it's different. This time it's Dwayne fucking Wade. I'm telling you guys, this template is literally the best template that you could possibly ever make and utilize for all these different builds. Like, I'm straight up telling you guys, you can utilize this to your advantage here. Because it's like, for an example, we got D Wade. We got D Wade. What if I just take this down like as much as possible? Let's just take it down to a 30. Let's just try and bring this up as much as possible here. Okay, we brought it up to a 60. What happens if I brought that up to a 60? Okay, there's the Sidney Moncrief I was mentioning. But the fact that you can get D Wade, all-time Sidney Moncrief, Tmac, Brandon Roy, Kobe, and MJ using the same template, and all I did was just change 2 fucking attributes. Are you kidding me? This is the best template in the game when it comes to getting like certain things. I mean, come on. Like, you gotta be goated. Like, it's goated. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. This is just absolutely goated. You cannot tell me that this is the best template to use of all time. Like, you can't tell me. You literally cannot tell me. Okay, then what happens if I drop this down? I can't remember what happened if I just dropped that down. Like, all the way. Yep, and then here's B-Roy. You can't make this up. You literally can't make this up. Here's Tmac. Here's Kobe. Like, I literally just showed you in this video that you can get T-Mac, Brandon Roy, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and Sidney Moncrief. Like, what? That's gonna be it for me. I'm done. This is the best template of all time. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm done.